how do I end a relationship with a friend who is no longer interesting? I think it begs the question of the nature of friendships, right? So obviously, the the Bible does have a lot to say about friendships, and one of the things that I find particularly interesting about friendships is this idea that a man of many friends comes to ruin. I think that's in Proverbs somewhere. Uh, yeah, so it's this idea that there is such a thing as having too many friends. That actually, this actually is kind of detrimental to one's life. Yeah. Okay, so Proverbs 18:24. A man of too many friends comes to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. So, I mean, there is a certain limit to how many friends you can really have, because on the one hand, you could have many, many friends, but then that's also less and less time you can spend with them or talk to them, communicate with them. And then you start forgetting birthdays, and you have conflict of interest in terms of they want to go to this event and then your other friend has this event and they're happening at the same time, right? So there are conflicts of interest when it comes to friendships. So I would say, yeah, you definitely need a lot of discernment on your friendships, and studies will show that your top 5 friends basically determine who you are as a person, determines your moral values, it determines your income level. You'll actually make the average of what your top 5 friends make, because their influence is that important and what they value is that important. And so, you get challenged positively, you get good feedback. Uh, there are a lot of positives from having good friends, and the people you surround yourself with, a lot of wisdom in having good friends. So for anyone who's kind of trying to decide, okay, like, how do I go about like just focusing on fewer better friends? Yeah, I would say there are ways you can still communicate with a friend, and maybe it's one you don't want to spend as much time with, or maybe it's a friendship you don't want to have anymore. In which case, I would say never like ghost someone. I think ghosting someone is rude, but I think there's a way to just acknowledge that if someone says something that you can respond, but you don't have to engage really with conversation. You can make it short answers, or not really reciprocate back, or reciprocate on your terms. So I think that's one way. Yeah, and honestly, there are friendships that you might want to continue to pursue, but then you find out that, um, yeah, just maybe the person is having a bad impact on your life, or they're not. I guess you have to assess every friendship you have. So, for instance, the way I look at my friendships with Christians, I look at it in a different way than when I have friendships with people who aren't Christians. So for people that aren't Christians, I'm kind of in the mentality of like, obviously I want to hang out with them and be their friend, and not merely just treat them as a project so that they can be saved and come to Christ. But you do treat them in a way that you recognize that you're also, other than just enjoying their friendship and enjoying them as a person to be around, you are having the mindset that I'm going to positively influence this person, as we know that bad company corrupts good character, right? So so for each one of us, yeah, you just have to have an acknowledgement of, okay, who are my friends? How do I view these friendships? Which are ones I need to back away from? Which are ones I need to pursue more? Because we only have a limited amount of time, right? So I think for each one of us, it's just, yeah, it's just a matter of. I think prayer is also helpful. Just asking the Lord, like, okay, is this person dragging me down? Is this person, or they're tearing me down? They're not really edifying. They're just kind of destructive, and or maybe they're negatively influencing me in a way that doesn't make me be the best version of myself, right? So those are important considerations, and once you kind of detect that, and it could be the case that it's actually a great relationship with someone who isn't a Christian, but then you have someone who is a Christian and is a friend, and that could also not be a good relationship to have with someone for a variety of reasons, perhaps. So I would say, and then in terms of the way I see my Christian friendships, I see it, okay, like, how can I edify this person in the Christian faith? How can they edify me? But it's not merely just kind of using each other for spiritual edification. Obviously, you love the person for who they are, and enjoy their friendship, but you do kind of have that in mind, that okay, so I have, you know um, like when I have non-Christian friendships, I have kind of lower expectations for their morality, if you will. And so, I'm not going to like call anyone out who's non-Christian, and I'm not going to like correct them on their morality necessarily. I mean, like if they're just talking about like filth or whatever, it's just like, okay, well, that's kind of how it is. And then, but for Christians, I'm different, with regards to that. So yeah, I think you just kind of have to prayerfully assess, okay, God, is this a friendship you'd like me to continue in? And this is one that I can kind of, maybe I need to have more distance or stay away from, then you can do that in a way that's respectful and not ghosting the person. But then, yeah, so you're still like acknowledging that person exists and not being a jerk, right? But yeah, you can still lovingly engage with them, but just you're spending less time with them. You're reciprocating less in your conversation with them. Yeah.